Hello, welcome to the third installment of me watching One Tree Hill for the first time. Part 1, I watched seasons 1 through 4. Part 2, I watched seasons 5 and 6. And this will be seasons 7 and 8. These are all videos recorded from like September of 2024 to the first week of January of 2025. Because I did take a little break because I could not get into season 7 of One Tree Hill. And because of that, my recaps of season 7 are not super detailed. P.S. These, by the way, are originally on TikTok, and I'm just making a compilation. So there is going to be like black bars that I tried to edit out by zooming into pictures, but just let that be known. And because of that, I kind of mesh a lot of season 7 and season 8 ideas together. You'll notice as they go along. But after the season 7 part of this video, which you're going to notice is very short, I am going to read some of like the notes that I took. Because I did take down notes. I just didn't film the videos. I think life just got... I actually don't remember. Oh, I got really sick at one point. And I was just not filming. So I kind of kept watching the show and then just didn't film. So then there's like weird chunks missing. I'm going to try to include those in that little bit in between. So I am going to be wearing this outfit. You're going to be like, what happened? Maybe you won't. I don't know. But yeah, just letting that be known. So onward onto season 7. I need someone to convince me that the later seasons of One Tree Hill are worth it because I have finished season 6. I have started season 7 and I don't see myself finishing season 7 because I am bored. Peyton, Sawyer, I love you. I miss you. Come back. And also, like, Lucas can come too. Listen, okay? New character? Don't give a fuck about him. I can't even tell which of these two is, I was gonna say Joy's sister, but Haley's sister. And quite honestly, don't really care about them either. And like, you mean to tell me that Nathan possibly did something else stupid? Ugh, so annoyed. I've never been a huge fan of, like, the record label side of One Tree Hill. Like, I really like Haley as a teacher. I don't know how I feel about her as, like, the head of whatever the studio is called. Still love Brooke. Still looking forward to Brooke. Julian is alright. Like, I enjoy him enough. But he doesn't really have any storylines I find super interesting, to be honest, like on his own besides Brooke. I've made my peace with Samantha not coming back. Where's Victoria? Where's Victoria? Also, Millie, girl boss, icon, queen. Love her. Really annoyed that she's still with I gave season 7 of One Tree Hill another shot, and I'm really glad that I did. I'm on episode 8. I'm about to start episode 8, but let's catch up to where we're at. I watched the first 2 episodes and then stopped watching for like 3-4 weeks, and I stand by that. The first 2 episodes were not good in my opinion. It was just a little slow, and like, I get it, you're introducing 3 new characters that, like, by the looks of it are going to be sticking around for at least this season. I don't know about future ones. Something about it just wasn't doing it for me. It took a little warming up. Alex, for example, I was not vibing with, but then she started kind of being a bad influence on Millie, and call me crazy, but I kind of loved it. Because you know what, Millie's like too good. Millie's like too perfect that I need someone to like roughen her up a bit to kind of cause her to be a bit of a menace. Return of Rachel as Dan Scott's wife. I feel like I knew that somewhere. I must have, because I wasn't shocked by it. I was like, oh yeah, Rachel, Dan's wife. I also knew that there was no way in hell that baby was Nathan's, just because of the love that people have for Nathan. Like, the girlies on here do not play about Nathan Scott, and I knew that if he had cheated on Haley, like, people would never forgive him for that. Like, he would not be at the top of the fictional man hierarchy if that was true. So I was like, he didn't do it. Like, I was straight chilling through that storyline. And I think for that reason, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the drama. I enjoyed the messiness of it. Also, Haley in her jail era, I was a fan. And I don't know if this was on purpose, but there's like a parallel from where Rachel doesn't slap Haley in season 4 because she is pregnant. But now Haley's like, nah, I don't give a fuck that you're pregnant. And I'm boom. And you know what? I love that, because I had been rooting for Rachel last time. I was like, no, slap her. And like, probably not the best for me, but I love drama. I am not watching teen dramas for people to be sensible and mature. Let's get that out of the way. Correlation to the storyline, when Clay talks to Haley and like tries to comfort her as everything's happening, it just felt so weird to me, because like, it's very clear that like, this is a scene that like this would be with Lucas. Like, it would be Haley talking to Lucas, and like that makes sense. But having them have this like emotional conversation when I don't think the two of them had a scene together alone before, I was like, I'm not buying this. How close is Nathan's agent to this family? And keeping up with the Is He the Father storyline, because it was by far the most interesting of these episodes. Mouth stays being like a great friend to literally everyone. However, this man is a horrible boyfriend, and I stand by that. Millie, you could do so much better. Like Millie in her model era, yes please. And when it comes to Alex, Millie, and the fashion show, big fan. When it comes to Alex, Julian, and Brooke, I'm not having one bit of it. Julian needs some sense knocked into him because, that is not. It's not for another day because it is already super long. And then I have things to say about Quinn and Clay, and we'll get there. Hello, it's me again. Addressing some points that I had said earlier in the video I was going to make because I have notes, but I didn't film them, but like honestly, I remember filming it. Did I lose the footage? I have no idea. Okay, starting off, the Haley, Renee, Nathan arc. I loved Haley in jail. In that scene, Renee puts her phone number on the glass and is like, he called me. And then Nathan, like, low-key gaslights her and is like, oh, you don't trust me? Dude, she checked your phone. It said you were calling. Now listen. Okay, I have here, like, okay, trying to be, like, logical, right, in the situation. Like, if I was Haley and, like, would you want to pay Renee off? Because, like, you trust Nathan, right? And you're like, well, he says he didn't do it, and, like, I trust him for that. But also, like, there's a lot of proof. Like, I'm thinking we pay Renee. Like, his career is on the line. If you don't, what if it's true? Like, what if it's true? But, like, do you want to stay with someone? And if it is true, like, there's a lot of things there. Dan coming to save the day. I have here, and I completely forgot about this, but the first time when Dan and the lie detector test, and when she first says, like, oh, he is the father, and it says true, and then Dan gets on and starts saying, like, a bunch of bullshit, and it says true as well. But, like, we know that to not be true. That includes, like, I did not kill my brother, but we know that he did, and it's like, boom, it's fake. We need someone on TV like that. Like, forget Dr. Phil. I need Dan Scott to have his own reality TV show, but, like, as a human, like, not as, like, an actor playing Dan Scott. Like, I need, well, you know what, it could be an actor playing Dan Scott. Like, I'm sure Judge Judy's, like, a little bit of a role, but I have that. And I also want to talk about Dan and his heart scenario, because I think it was glossed over a little too much. I think I glossed it over a little bit too much. Like, what do you mean Rachel pays a family to kill off their son so that Dan can get a heart? And the way that those scenes are shown was so, like, creepy and, like, high-key racist, let's be honest, that it's like, okay, this is weird, it's just icky, it's icky, you know? Another note that I have here that I didn't mention, but when Dan is talking to Rachel about the show and having ratings, they make, like, a subtle jab at Lucas, but it's clearly meant at, like, Chad Michael Murray, that it's like, well, Lucas isn't doing anything. And it reminded me so much of in Fuller House when they're like, where's Michelle? And they all, like, turn to look at the screen.
Well, Michelle sends her love, but she's busy in New York running her fashion empire.
As someone who loves pettiness, I can say that I did go, whew. But that's mean. What was he up to? I have here Quinn and David. So we get introduced to Quinn as, like, oh, she's getting a divorce from her husband, right? And then they kind of have this, like, he comes back, but she, like, kind of has a thing with Clay, and then he, like, kind of has a thing with, like, Taylor, and it's, like, almost like a love square-ish. My biggest issue with that was that I never felt like David was, like, a possible option for Quinn, like, them getting back together. And I think because of that, that storyline just kind of was, like, meh to me, that I didn't even mention it. Because, like, now, I don't love love triangles. I'm not a big love triangle girly. But I think if you're going to introduce a character like that, you have to make the audience think that there's a chance. There's a chance that she goes back to David. I never felt that chance. I never felt like David stood a chance. And I think that's a problem. Now, let's talk about the last main, like, relationship here. You know what? I'm pretty sure I talked about this in season 8. But I'm going to add it here as well, that I have a lot of issues with Julian and, like, how he doesn't take into account Brooke's feelings in certain situations. For example, Brooke has let it be known how she feels about Julian's friendship with Alex and how, like, something about that just makes her feel uncomfy. He does not seem to care because he keeps doing, and I understand having, like, autonomy is, like, I am my own person, but there is a point where you have to take your significant other's feelings into account. He does not do that. General notes for season 7 that I have is that I did not like the first 3 episodes, and then the second half felt weaker to me than the, like, middle section. So from, like, 4 to, like, 14, 10 out of 10. That's a lot, not 10 out of 10. But, like, I enjoyed them a lot more than I enjoyed the other ones. I will say, I think season 7 is my least favorite. The show just definitely felt like it lost its footing, losing Peyton and Lucas. It needed a little bit of catching up. It needed a little bit of getting it together. And it eventually did. The Clay and Sarah and like him having his little memories, little delusion moments, I thought went on for too long. I did not really care for. Same thing for, like I said, like the Quinn and David, did not care for. I'm gonna get more into Haley and her mom dying storyline later on. But oh my god, I'm reading through my notes and I completely forgot that this happens. Dan trying to drown Clay. Yeah, that happened. You know, season 7 to me felt like it dragged on forever, and a lot of the stuff that I ended up saying for season 8, as you will notice, has to do with stuff that happened in season 7. Because to me, they kind of blended together, especially because I wasn't doing my recap videos the way I had in the past. And I kind of don't touch much on, like, the major storyline that happens at the start of season 8 with Clay and Quinn, and how they, like, have the fake out of Katie. The storyline I felt like dragged on a little too much for my liking. I understand that my feelings towards that are probably very different, considering that I am watching it in a binging style as opposed to if someone was watching it live once a week. But that little fake out of like, she comes in, nothing happens. Quinn comes in, when Clay calls her, nothing happens, and then it's like, oh, the real version where Katie's there and pow. I feel like no fake out is ever gonna shock me as much as the Q one from season 6. That one, don't even get me started. I think that's it. I don't see what else I have that's that much into detail. Millie storylines, her and Owen flirting it up. You know what? I supported her the first time she slept with him. After the flirting was not for me. Skills, not Dr. Lauren, Miss Lauren, and then like Mouth, I was not super into personally, but it is what it is. I can understand it as like filler. And now I do have 3 episodes that I had put as like, I listed them as like, these were like favorite episodes. I usually do that for like episodes that catch my eye, just so that I can have them kind of jotted down for my own purpose of like these videos that I record. But I only have 3 for this season, and they all happened pretty early on. I don't know if I just didn't care for the half, or because I did get sick, I wasn't taking as many notes, which is totally possible. But I'll tell you about the 3 that I do have. The first one is season 7, episode 4, Believe Me, I'm Lying. The primary storylines here are the Nathan and Renee scandal, like going public, and then Brooke's fashion show, Millie and the Zero is Not a Size. The second one I have here is episode 5, You're Cheating Hard. This has Haley in her jail era, Millie in modeling, and then Quinn and Clay getting closer. The last one I had written down was I and Love and You, which is season 7, episode 7. This has Renee in the lie detector, and then like Sarah and Clay and Quinn and David storylines. But I feel like I didn't really care for those. Like it was this that had me invested. So that is that for this season. Now we're gonna go back in time to my season 8 videos. I have reached the craziness that is the Sarah/Katie storyline in One Tree Hill, and the screen just like completely left. She's back. Okay, Katie Core. Yeah, I've been really bad at posting my One Tree Hill first watch videos. I'm back. This woman is like actually psychotic, and I don't know this actress's name, but I know her as like Meredith from Pretty Little Liars, and she was crazy in that one too, when she like kidnaps Arya and like holds her hostage in like the basement or something. That was crazy. But her and the pew-pewing, I was shook. I will say, as interesting as that was, this whole like them on the beach and Clay and like their dream coma scenario, I don't like that. I don't like that storyline. I was kind of bored. I was like, give us the realness. But where I am right now, like the episode I finished last night, Quinn has gone to Dan to be like, how can I pew her? He said, you know what, if you're gonna need to get like murder tips, a murderer is the way to go. But like, and Dan Scott just like flipping burgers was not what I was planning. It was not what I was saying. But I guess, you know what, he like gave up all his money, so it makes sense. But that to me was very shocking. And Dan's whole arc, actually, I haven't talked about because I haven't made videos for season 7. I know it was really bad. It's so interesting. Like, he gave up his money, that I'm like, is Dan Scott turning a new leaf? Because I truly believe he is. Maybe I'm stupid for that, but I feel like he is. Rachel, on the other hand, only cared about the money, and I loved seeing her manipulate him. It was delicious. I think it took me a little while to fully get invested in the character of Quinn, but I feel like I'm finally there, and I'm really glad that I am. Same thing for Alex. Like, tell me why I am not rooting for this woman. I need her and Chase to live happily ever after. Sorry, don't care about Mia. I've never really cared about Mia. Chase has also very much grown on me, and like I really need a Chase and Alex storyline. Like, I really, really do. And Clay, I'm kind of indifferent to. He's been kind of absent for a couple episodes now, I feel like, and I'm okay with it. Like, Nathan now being an agent, wow, what a turn of events. Now, final little recap on the last newish character, Julian. He lacks common sense, like a lot. Like, some of the stuff with him in the Alex storyline, it's like, Julian, do you not have 2 working brain cells that you could like rub together and give a little bit of logic? Like, why are you projecting your dead mother onto Alex? 1. too, you're like a little too emotionally attached and you don't like seem to understand that, and then expect Brooke to be like chill with that, and that's just not the vibe. But a Brilliant wedding is happening soon. I do find Julian's mom very annoying, but I feel like I'm supposed to, so that's that. And Victoria's in prison now. The gasp I let out with that storyline. You know what? I feel like I have so much more videos that I need to do. I need to catch up on what I said on season 7, because I'm saying so much, but like not enough, and it's kind of bothering me. So like, bear with me. The videos will be coming. I made it to this episode of One Tree Hill. So I'd seen clips of it on TikTok. Like, I'd seen this clip where they're like both in the car and she's like, Julian, he's a kid, and like Julian goes to help him. Like, I'd seen that, but I'd never like seen the episode until now. Tell me why in my head I was so confused, because like I knew this episode was coming eventually, and when there was like the hurricane or the storm or whatever, I was like, oh, this is the episode. But I was so confused as to why like Brooke wasn't at the spelling bee, because in my head it was like the three of them were like driving somewhere or coming from somewhere together, and like the car hits them, they're there, and like a second car comes and then throws them off the river. Like, that's how my brain registered it as. No. Like, my brain was trying to get to the end point without having everything in the middle. So I was like, why are Julian and Brooke just fighting? Why is Jamie in a car with Miss Laura? What's happening? But shout out Brooke Davis for being the realist for the longest. I will say one thing that I think is unreasonable is the fact that Miss Designer herself, Brooke Davis, doesn't carry around like scissors in her car. I feel like that's something she'd have like in her purse. And the fact that all she had was like a little eyebrow tweezer was kind of pissing me off. I won't lie. Also, if push comes to shove, I say this with love, I'm choosing Brooke over Jamie. And what, you know, the audio that's like, fuck them kids. That's how I feel about the situation, because my girl Brooke Davis, but she's good, so all is fine in the world. I will say she was like out of it for like a little too long. Like, is she okay? Like, did her brain cells start to like fuck up? And in a whole separate plot, the return of Katie. Girl, this was a good episode. I mean, I guess this was like a mid-season finale, and it was entertaining. Shout out Quinn. That part when she like comes back with the bullets. Oh. Also, this bitch is fucking insane. Like, to get stabbed in the leg and then just keep on walking like no biggie. Like, what? Is she good? Anyways, this is a 10 out of 10 episode. Nothing but snaps. So I am post season 8 car crash of One Tree Hill during my first watch. It's also during the time in which Nathan and Claire are trying to sign the picture. Right? And these two are sitting by the kitchen table being like, you know what, maybe this picture is giving us like a bad vibe. And they talk about morality clause, right? And then suddenly my brain goes, they haven't caught the guy who hit them on the bridge. It's gonna be him. I experienced zero shock in the slightest when Nathan goes to the house party, sees the car in the garage with the liquor bottle. I'm like, of course it was. But then my shock came when they were like, no, it wasn't Kellerman's stomach, it was Kellerman himself. And I was like, whoa, they tricked me, because I had picked up on it being the picture before it was like revealed that it would have been, well, his father. So I was like, okay, slay. Going against my expectations. That's interesting, that's compelling. But then it didn't go against my expectations, because it does end up being his son. And it's like, so was I supposed to believe it was his son, then be convinced that it wasn't, only to go back to him, in which that, like, okay, plot twist, slay. But if it's like, no, you weren't supposed to think it was him in the beginning, and you just were supposed to believe it was Kellerman, to be told that it was his son, then that's kind of lame, I think. Because it's like, that's the obvious answer. But is it only obvious to me because I watch too much television? Like, do I consume too much meat that my brain was like, oh, that's happening? Predict it there, because I do that sometimes, and it always annoys me. Like, this is why I can't watch Criminal Minds, because I always feel like I solved the murder before anything, and it's like, well, that's ruined. But I don't necessarily think this was ruined. I just thought it was kind of cool that they were going against my expectations for a minute, but then they weren't. I feel like I've accidentally abandoned my One Tree Hill videos, because I finished the season, but then the holidays hit, and then I got sad that I was on the last season, so I stopped watching. But let's chat. I last left you off on Brooke's Bachelorette episode. I absolutely loved this episode. It was so funny, and I loved this group of people, especially them together. Yes, please. Skateboarding sensation, Dargis Kellerman. What a name, what a guy. Little plot twist of, oh my god, Brooke lost her ring and kissed some dude. I did guess correctly that it was going to be Julian, but like, still, I'll accept it. They're very cute. But you know what's interesting to me? No matter how cute I find them, I feel like they're not a top tier ship of mine just yet, and I'm waiting for the moment that they will. Because I really like them. I don't really know what it is about them that just doesn't give me like butterfly kicky feelings, you know what I mean? Because favorite ships are very much a feeling, in my opinion. Like, there's certain elements that they're needed, right? Like, you need chemistry, you need good storylines, but at the end of the day, it's something about just like a connection between the ship and you. Really, that's what it is. And I'm not fully there with them yet, but I hope to be. I'm open. I really did believe at one point that I'm like, oh my god, Haley's gonna go into labor at their wedding, because weddings never go well in TV shows, this show included, that I was like, something horrible gonna happen, and it didn't. So like, thank you to the universe. I found all the pre-wedding stuff very interesting as well. I enjoyed it. His mom is very much like boy mom TM. Like Julian and his mom are kind of annoying at times where you're like, stand up for yourself, sir. She's funny, so I forgive her. I give her a pass, okay? That one scene where he talks to her thinking she's Brooke on the phone, like, I giggled, I chuckled. But back to the wedding. Haley's speech. Oh my god, I really am loving the friendship that these two have. It was just very sweet. It was very sweet. And I do know from what I've heard, I think it's like at the, on the Drama Queens podcast, was that like a clip of it where Sophia says that she changed Brooke's vows because originally they were like cringy and horrible. And I'm kind of curious as to what those were, because those vows are good. So now I'm like, I wonder, I really do. I was trying to think of like what could have possibly been in those vows that were like so bad and so like, girl, I need to change them. You know what I mean? I'm interested. If she has them, I'll read them. I just talked about how this episode was like cute and fun and like hee. I think this one tried to be cute and fun and hee hee, and it was kind of weird. But like they looked good, so good for them. You know that audio that's like, I got pajamas on 2 a.m. I'm gonna be honest, girl. I'm only looking at her titties. That's how I felt with Brooke Davis. Can I say something possibly very controversial about this storyline? I think it fell flat for me in the sense when I compare it to other storylines that I can think of. For example, in The Vampire Diaries, when Caroline's mom dies also with cancer. That one, girl, I was sobbing by the end of like, this is the last call for Sheriff Forbes, on the floor, tears, shaking. This one, I didn't feel that like loss that I think you're supposed to alongside Haley. And I think a big part of that is we never saw Haley's parents. Like my memory of Haley's mom is like, Nathan goes to her house being like, hey, want to get married? And she's like, marriage? And then I think they like run off. And like, dude, we see her father. Is her father still alive? Well, in theory, I'm sad for her and her loss, along with all three of them, Taylor included, I guess. I just feel like it could have been done better had it been a character that was around more. Like the killing off of Keith, shambles. They could have done that storyline to Karen, or they could have done that to Deb, and I feel like it would have been it would have hit home a lot more, or they could have just introduced Haley's mom a lot sooner. Another thing about the scene that I thought was kind of silly, it's very clear that Haley's other siblings were not casted, because it's just like, I'm supposed to assume that the dudes next to them are their brothers, but like, I don't know, that's an assumption. Is going through it, right? Like during and after the storyline. But I just think it would have hit so much harder if we knew Lydia. And the baby after her was cute, right? But like, I think back to when Sawyer was born, and it's like, her middle name is Brooke. I was like, oh my god, her middle name is Brooke. It doesn't hit the same, and I feel bad for saying that. You know what, I shouldn't. Writers do better. You know what, I'm just kidding. I love the show. Her whole like, I'm in labor, JK. And to like literally everyone in her life. I thought it was funny. Can you say mother? Because Brooke Davis is a mother. Watching One Tree Hill for the very first time, I have finished season 8. Let's take it back to Haley's baby shower, because this episode was hilarious. Having Brooke freak out with like Sloane Riley over here. I can't remember her name. Holly, Chloe, something like that. Being like, yeah, my family's functional. I love my parents. I love my in-laws. Enter Victoria like, honey, I'm back from jail. And everyone else being like, oh my god, I remember jail. Haley, how many times have you been to jail? Like, it was great for all the hee-hee moments, but really, let's be honest, it's Haley's speech talking about how amazing Brooke is, that it's just like, yeah, she really is amazing. Brooke has really grown so much that it's crazy. Like I was editing my videos of these from seasons 1 through 4, because I was putting them on a YouTube compilation, and now I'm just like, I love Brooke Davis, and I was so hard on her those first couple like videos, because I expected so much of her, because everyone loves her, as they should, but like, I obviously didn't see that in the first couple episodes, because it's character development. She evolves, she grows. Her losing close over Rose had me feeling all kinds of stuff. Like, I want nothing but the best for her. She has just been someone that I'm so happy that I saw grow. Same thing for Nathan. Like, those two characters, their development is just top tier. Can I be completely honest? While I'm happy that she was able to have biological children, I feel like it also would have been really good had they just gone with the adoption storyline. Like, Andrew obviously didn't give us much because like she was a baby, but like, I loved Samantha, and I would have loved for her to actually have gone through the adoption process. Like, I think that would have been such a good storyline. But I will say one thing, that I think this is part of the reason why I can never get fully on board with Julian and Brulian as a couple, because there's some times where I feel like I need to knock some sense into Julian, because what do you mean you're telling Alex Brooks' business? Why are you telling Alex Brooks' business? What? For what? Okay, mini rant over. I'm really happy for both of them, and I look forward to seeing them as parents next season. I'm really curious as to what like the general consensus is of Chase and Alex, because personally, I didn't like Chase with Brooke, and I also didn't really like Chase and Mia. Like, I could not have cared less for them, but these two together, I love. I remember a video that I made when I was barely watching season 4, and I said, like, I don't really care for Chase. Someone was like, your opinion's gonna change, or like, he'll grow on you. And I kept waiting and waiting and waiting for his character to grow on me, and it wasn't really happening until about season 8. And now I can fully say that, like, yeah, he has grown on me. And like, when he left, I was kind of sad. I was feeling it for Alex. I was feeling it for Chuck. This like buddy duo came out of nowhere, in my opinion, but like, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I appreciate it. I feel like this season had a lot of like guy centric and like girl centric episodes, or like episodes where the storylines were cut in half by gender. And here's the thing, okay? Was the girl plot always low key the superior one, like the Costa Rica one? Yes, same thing for the Halloween one. But I thought the idea of them trying to like save the river court was cute and meaningful, you know? Because yeah, when I heard the river court might be gone, I did get a little emotional. And I do know that like in real life, I believe it is gone, right? Like it's no longer there. Oh, I wonder if that's why it's this storyline. I always assumed that the river court was taken away like years later, but I guess not. Right now that I just used a screenshot, it reminded me of something. I was a little bit worried with that Utah episode, that like cabin episode, because as you may or may not know, I could not, for the life of me, get through the season 3 cabin episode. Like, this is why I stopped watching Winter Hill for like a year and a half, 2 maybe, I have no idea. But like, I could not get through this episode. I tried watching it in like 3-4 separate different times, and I was so bored. I was bored out of my mind. But this one I like. I feel like I'm so all over the place in this video, but oh my god, one of my favorite like little running gags that's been around is Alex and her drinking, like making other people drink and her sucking on the lime. So like her and Brooke trying to cover for Brooke being pregnant this episode. Loved it. What's my favorite characters for season 8? Of course, Brooke Davis. Were you expecting anyone else in first place? She's been my favorite character for such a long time and has like consistently been at the top of this list since like season 4 or 5. I truly love that for her and for me, because season 1 Brooke and me don't vibe, okay? But season 2 I completely fell in love with her, and she just gets better and better. She literally deserves the world. Like, I want nothing but the best for Brooke Davis. I did not see this coming, okay? I'm shocked too. Alex this season has grown on me so much. She's funny and I find her endearing, and there's sometimes where she like pisses me off a little, but like at the end of the day I'm like, oh, Alex. Scott, king of character development. I really like the college arc, and overall just a great season. For my favorite crackhead, I joke. She's funny, smart, and beautiful. How can you not love her? Also, like this whole her and the reporter storylines, oh my god, I loved it. They were some of my favorite storylines. I'm so happy she has like a bigger role now and like more development. 10 out of 10. 5 and 6, I've thoroughly enjoyed both of them, and I'm really glad that I stuck with this show, because obviously I wouldn't know them if I had stopped after season 6. And while they will never replace Peyton and Lucas, like I love Peyton, I know that's very unpopular, but like Quinn is never gonna be Peyton in my eyes, and then like the Nathan Lucas dynamic is never gonna be met anywhere near with Clay and Nathan, so like there's that. But like, if I'm not comparing them and they stand on their own, I really enjoyed them. I think season 8 was great for both of them. The character that has grown on me so much, Victoria. Let's give her snaps. She did bankrupt her daughter's company, but you know what, I still find her hilarious, and I think she had the right intentions, so she's forgiven in my book. I thought he made this list. I believe this is my 7, because I think I separated 8 and there's one person left. Chase has really grown on me this season. I briefly mentioned it some other time that like him and Alex together really have made me like his character a lot more, and I think she's brought out a different side of him that like I thoroughly enjoy. Haley as my 8, and then I realized I didn't put Julian. I think I put Julian above Haley. I mentioned, again, maybe very controversial, I did not like the storyline of Haley this season with her mom. I feel like it felt very out of place. I did not think it was as deep as it tried to be. Something about it just felt off to me, meaning that something about her just felt off to me. I know I'm supposed to feel sorry for her. I'm watching her grieve. I'm not a monster. Like, I'm supposed to feel something, but I wasn't. But yeah, Julian was supposed to be my 8. Sometimes he does stuff that is like stupid, that it's like, Julian, are you dumb? But then other times it's like, oh, Julian, you're so sweet. My favorite episode this season was Darkness on the Edge of Town, which is episode 11, aka the storm episode. You got Brulin plus Jamie on the bridge. You have Quint and Katie, and then Naylee in the car. Great episode. My second favorite was episode 16. I think I'm gonna like it here, which is Haley's baby shower, Jamie in baseball, Millie in her new job, and then the Brulee adoption. Third favorite episode was the drinks we drank last night, which is episode 12. This is Brooke's bachelorette, and like them trying to piece the pieces. That okay. Why does that sound weird? They're trying to like realize what happened that night. So I was trying to get a top 5 episodes, but I ended up with 6. And my first 3 are like solid, but the other 3, honestly, you can kind of flip them around in any place. So let's say for now, 4, I have episode 17, the smoker you drink, the player you get. This has the Haley like labor pranks, and then them finding out that the person who hit the car in the bridge was Kellerman. Between Raising Hell and Amazing Grace, which is episode 9, the Thanksgiving episode, Great episode. Last of the season finale, This Is My House, This Is My Home, where they reopen Karen's cafe, Chase goes to the Air Force, and then Matt and Millie in the talk show. Overall, not my favorite season, and I do think it's in the weaker half. However, better than season 7. Can't wait for season 9.
Okay, that's it for this video. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm still craving validation and still bad at outrows. Okay, much love, bye.